Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities on expanding the budget per supplying free sanitary products for women in poor communities. Good morning, Nokzolo. Nokzola.
Good morning. Good
Thank,
morning, Maria.
thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, first, start off by telling us a little bit more about the organization and how did it start?
Um, Team Free Sanitary Pads is a collective movement to demonstrate the urgent call for the South African government to prioritize women and young girls, including all menstruators, with regards to allocating national government expenditure on the supply of free sanitary products. Although newly a registered NPO, Team Free Sanitary Pads is primarily aimed at pursuing the emancipation of young girls and women from a very grassroots approach, but also taking advantage of the power of social media and spreading awareness to pressure the government to take action by 2030. It was also inspired by having experienced my own menstrual health stigmas in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
And also I imagine that, thousands of women in South Africa probably have experienced some form of menstrual health stigmas. And I thought, it was time to actually take action and deconstruct the narrative in order for women and young girls to be included across all societal spheres.
Mm-hmm. Now, why is it important to demystify and to change the stereotypes around periods and menstruation?
By deconstructing the narrative and eradicating period stigmas, in our quest to eradicate period poverty, we are fighting for women and young girls not to be hindered by mentalities that perceive menstrual health as a disqualifying factor for women pursuing jobs as well as degrees, so that holistic transformative policies across all societal spheres are adopted that recognize menstrual rights as human rights and accelerating gender equality in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It's more than about providing menstrual products.
Mm-hmm.
It's a means to open up opportunities for women and young girls in government and in corporate spaces. We believe that women should not be ashamed of being women, and they should take charge and bring about confidence in themselves.
Mm-hmm. And there's such a stigma attached around menstruation, and it's like it's a taboo topic that should not be spoken of. And women who are menstruating should not even be seen or heard. They should just like go into a hole and bury themselves and come out when that time is over, which is very unfair to a woman. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because what type of message are we sending to younger women and younger girls who are also going to go through this? What are the health risks associated with the use of unhygienic products during menstruation?
One of the health risks associated is toxic shock syndrome when using unhygienic products. Also, women experience infections, and by using toilet paper, which doesn't have the correct, standardized solutions to actually deal with menstrual blood.
Mm-hmm.
It impacts on young girls and women's health, particularly around, their reproductive health as well. It can also impact them in future and impact in terms of their fertility as well, to be able to conceive, children. So it's a very critical and important aspect of a woman's reproductive health and, sexual rights as well. It comes into play holistically in terms of the daily functioning of women and young girls, becoming productive individuals in society, in terms of engaging in career advancement opportunities as well as engaging at school as well.
Mm-hmm. So, how does Team Free Sanitary Pads help with the menstrual health and hygiene bill, and how is it going to help with this situation and eradicate, hopefully, in a few years to come, this problem that we're currently facing?
Having used our collective voices successfully in terms of putting pressure on the South African government to scrap VAT on sanitary products as well as certified national government expenditure. We feel that, more must be done in the long run. Future governments must also prioritize young girls and women inclusion in corporate spaces and in government, and keeping girls in schools, in a sustainable approach. So Team Free Sanitary Pads feels that we need to ensure that in the long run, the South African government commits to prioritizing women and young girls through budget policy tools in a sustainable manner. Having a menstrual health and hygiene bill will be in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in terms of promoting quality education and bringing about gender equality. So it's an aim to recognize that menstrual rights are human rights and that women's rights are human rights.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to bring about commitment, which is needed to ensure that, young girls and women are able to partake in society.
Mm-hmm. All right. So basically, this bill is to provide women and girls from poor communities with the sanitary products. So there has been some conflict when it comes to what type of products to provide for women in poorer communities. So what are the ideal products that you and the organization are looking for?
We believe in a holistic approach. We pay attention to the fact that, not everyone has access to water in South Africa, to water and sanitation in South Africa, which is also part of, our advocacy work. So we also make use of disposable sanitary products and also reusable sanitary products, which are eco-friendly as well. However, we also take precautions to the fact that not everyone has access to facilities that could assist in terms of sustainable approach in eradicating period poverty, like making use of reusable sanitary products. So we use disposables, and we use all kinds of sanitary products.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. And obviously, the government is not really doing much, but you have welcomed the recent announcement. So, what else do you need the government to do to step up and do for women in South Africa?
It would be great to actually have menstrual products free in the same model as condom supply. I mean, if we walk into public spaces and public toilets, we can see that condoms are freely available. However, we do not have sanitary products that are freely available in that manner. And we want government to do more to ensure that they actually recognize menstrual rights as women's rights, and that there are sanitary pads dispensers around in public spaces and schools, as well as in corporate spaces as well, and that there are transformative policies that actually recognize menstrual rights, that absorb leave days in terms of menstrual health into labor policies. So we feel that the government should step up and raise their voice and take more action in accelerating the cause to eradicate period poverty by 2030.
Mm-hmm. All right. And how can people be part of the organization? How can they get in touch?
People can get in touch by reaching out to me on my email address,
Mm-hmm.
nokuzola.ndwandwe@gmail.com. They can also engage on social media through the hashtag Team Free Sanitary Pads. They can follow us on Facebook under the hashtag of Team Free Sanitary Pads. They can follow us on Twitter as well. They can also find us on Instagram. And they can just reach out to me, and then we can discuss ways in which we can actually mobilize as a collective in order to help eradicate period poverty nationally.
All right. So thank you so much for your time, Nokuzola.
Thank you so much for having me, Marianne.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. So if you would like to be part of that movement, it's hashtag Team Free Sanitary Pads. They are on social media, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And you can send an email to nokuzola.ndwandwe@gmail.com. That's NOKUZOLA.NDWANDWEE, just one E, at gmail.com. They are advocating for free sanitary products for women in poor communities, and they are calling on the government to provide these products freely to make them readily and freely available in public spaces like the way condoms are available. So, this issue of menstrual health is just something that is, I really don't understand why it's such a taboo topic and why it's something that's always hushed and why people shouldn't be talking about it. But I'd like to just share with you few, what is this, a few stigmas and why menstrual health should no longer be a taboo topic. We need to break the silence around this. We need to break the taboo around menstrual health because women go through menstrual health. In fact, if you don't, then you should be worried because it is something that is part of life. It's healthy. A group of 7 United Nations rights experts issued a clarion call to break the taboo around menstrual health for women and girls that persist in many parts of the world and take concrete action to end disempowering discrimination. Persistent harmful social cultural norms, stigma, misconceptions, and taboos around menstruation continue to lead to exclusion and discrimination of women and girls. The independent human rights experts said, despite recent campaigns by women to challenge menstrual taboos and increasing attention to the issue of menstruation in the media, research, policy making, and cultural discussions, they underscored the need for more efforts to address challenges faced by women and girls. In some countries, the experts, menstruating women continue to be viewed as contaminated and impure, often restricted and forbidden to engage in activities like touching water or cooking, attending religious and cultural ceremonies, or other community activities. Menstruating women and girls can even be banished to outside sheds according to customs, where they suffer in cold and isolation, often at risk of life threatening illness and attack. Many live without any privacy to wash or access to safe, clean toilets or even separate sanitation facilities at work or in the classroom or when they're visiting other public institutions. Additionally, sanitary hygiene products are often inaccessible or too costly, particularly for those living in poverty and crisis situations. As states' policies rarely address these issues. Vulnerable women can be forced to use impoverished, unhygienic materials that may cause leaking and infection, putting their health at serious risk. Stigma around menstruation has significant health impacts on women's and girls' health. The experts highlighted, pointing out that some providers are prone to dismiss issues relating to menstruation, citing that it can take several years to diagnose endometriosis and dysmenorrhea, painful disorders that can also affect fertility. Due to stigma and a lack of sexual education, menstruation knowledge remains limited, leaving many girls with negative and ambivalent feelings and experiencing psychosocial stress, which also impacts their ability to learn, said the experts. And now we have situations where girls can't go to school during this period of during the menstruation period because of not having um, sanitary pads, sanitary products for them to continue with life, and which is very unfair. The stigma and shame generated by stereotypes of men around menstruation have severe impacts on all aspects of women and girls' human rights. This should be a basic right for women. And removing the value added tax on sanitary products does not make it any easier and any affordable because these products are still quite very expensive and inaffordable. So if you have any comments, questions, queries, or suggestions, please send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 0617660355. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and share your comments over there. And we'd love to hear from you. Do stay with us. We will be right back.
This is Salam Media, and you are tuned into the Miriam Makunda Show.
Osman's Taj Mahal Spice and Rice. For over 80 years, Osman's Taj Mahal have been perfecting the art of the perfect blend of spices, pure, aromatic, and well-seasoned. Spices to tantalize your taste buds. From creative cuisines to gastronomical gourmet goodies. From exotic odors to traditional dishes, Osman's Taj Mahal have remained synonymous with quality condiments, Taj Mahal rice, beans, and lentils.